first part of this module, we're going to talk about how do you actually submit your proposal. So if you remember from our agency overviews, we talked about the fact that for some agencies, they have their own submission portal. For some of them, they may use grants.gov. Some of them are even a little bit stranger than that. So with your proposal package, remember for the agencies, there's going to be a lot of different requirements. There's going to be a lot of different changes to what they want in the proposal package. But then how you submit that proposal package is also going to vary. Keep in mind though, before you submit, of course you want to move through the compliance documentation. So going down that checklist, making sure every single box is checked. But one of the really good things about some of the platforms, mainly the ones that have specific portals like DoD, NSF, NASA, you can actually incrementally put documentation into that submission portal. You can upload it over time. Typically there will be a very specific place you put it. And that serves as a really great guidepost on, do I have the thing completed? Is it up there? What else do I need to do? For other agencies, though, that could be very difficult, if not just outright impossible. With grants.gov, which a number of the agencies use, USDA, DOE, you can create a workspace and put documentation into it, but a lot of times it's very hard to navigate. It's very kind of cumbersome to use. And then for still other agencies like Department of Transportation and Institute of Educational Services, there is no way to actually preload it. DOT, you go in through their own portal, and it is just essentially a one-page thing. You upload a couple of forms and hit submit. It doesn't save any work that you have in there. And then for IES, you actually email the proposal package off. So there is no way to just kind of put stuff together and then slowly email it. You have to zip it all into one file. So when you are doing that submission process, keep in mind that again, different agencies are going to have different requirements for what go together and go into your submission. At the very minimum, you're always going to have some sort of technical narrative, some sort of summary / abstract, and a budget. It does not matter the agency. Those are going to be three hard things you're going to have. However, with a lot of the agencies, there's going to be other forms and things that you're going to submit with that proposal package. A great example here is National Science Foundation. So National Science Foundation has things like collaborators and other affiliations and current and pending support that have to be filled out individually for each key team member, or each person that is listed as a senior or key personnel. You're also going to have things like a data management plan, the facilities and other resources. There's a lot of kind of extraneous forms. NIH is very similar in that regard too. They're going to have human subjects forms, animal testing forms. If you're not doing those tests, you still have to actually click when you load the form and assist, and you go to edit it. At the very top, there's going to be a radio button. You either click yes, are you using this kind of testing, or no. Even if you're not going to be using it, you still have to click that no radio button and save that. For even Institute of Educational Sciences, although you're emailing that package off, in the solicitation, they have appendices. The latest numbering is A through H, but that has changed over time, so don't take that as a fact. But there are going to be some appendices you have to fill out. One is a funding agreement form. One is actually bio sketches. One of the appendices is the budget itself. So just kind of be aware of that when you're looking at doing your submission, is you want to double check the solicitation. And then, of course, always you could use our checklist, because our checklist breaks down every single thing based on the release schedule. So we always update those checklists at every release so that that information is the most current and most up to date. If these are a required form, like the ones for NSF, NIH, IES, all of the various other ones, then your proposal package is not complete. You can have an outstanding technical narrative. You can have a summary that just, wows people. You can have a budget that has everything costed out to the penny. If you don't have those other required forms and you submit it, it's going to get bounced out during administrative review. And that's going to lead to, remember that worst phrase in the world, review or returned without review. So make sure that you are submitting those forms, those required documents, along with your proposal package. It's the only way it's ever going to get looked at. To kind of combat that, a lot of these agencies that aren't the grants.gov submission portals will actually typically have some sort of check you can run, where you hit a button and it'll actually go through and it'll say whether it's complete, whether there are any errors. In Fastlane, when you hit the check, it'll actually come back and it'll have errors in black at the top, which you can actually totally ignore. Then it'll have errors in red at the bottom. Errors in red at the bottom will keep you from getting your proposal submitted. Very similar thing with the Assist platform. Before you can actually sign that off for, hey, this is ready for submission, it runs a compliance check. One thing to note is, like with DoD and NASA, because of the weird kind of portal they use, there is no real check button, but every step of the way you know exactly where you sit, because there's a progress bar and a percentage that will fill up as you put in the required information. You cannot submit until all of that is green and they're all at 100%. And along those lines, the thing to kind of remember is, with those platforms, submit doesn't actually mean submit. So when you're going through them at the bottom, for each one of those kind of forms or screens, it's going to be a submit button. You actually click submit to just submit that the information that you have put into there is correct. You're not actually submitting it. There's another term they use, I think it's authorize, something along those lines. So that's kind of one thing to keep in mind, is most of these have fail-safes built in that you can use, but don't rely on them. Rely on the solicitation, or, well, I should say, and rely on our checklist. You should always check both. And then kind of a couple of last things with submissions. We discussed it numerous times before, but want to, of course, bring it up again. Don't ever wait till the last day to start your submission. Those proposal windows are set in stone. Sometimes if there's lots of errors, if the system goes down, they may extend it, but don't ever count on that extension. It's kind of up to them. Sometimes if there are issues and the system goes down, they may just say, hey, you should have submitted early. And personally, if your internet goes down, your dog chewed up your thumb drive, whatever the excuse is that you couldn't get it submitted, there is no grace period. It's not like when you were back in school and you submit it 3 days late, and it just means that it drops a grade level. I think it's grade level. That would probably be the best terminology there. They don't dock points and then score it. It just doesn't get scored. They immediately kick it back, and sometimes you can't even do that. For some of the ones that just close on that date, that ability will be just totally gone. You cannot submit it. So keep that in mind as you're trying to get prepared, as you're trying to close stuff out. Being ahead of that game takes a lot of pressure off your shoulders. If you are trying to wait till the last minute and just hoping your internet doesn't go down, hoping your computer doesn't crash, hoping the system doesn't go down, sometimes you might come across something that you're not complete on. You might be in the process of trying to upload with that 15-minute counter starting to tick down, and you'll see, oh, I didn't fill out this form. Each time you have to do that, you're going to make mistakes because you're rushing, you're trying to get through it. You're going to miss key things. You're not going to have time to actually go back and check. And one of the best ways you can do that is when you're creating your proposal package, set up 2 different folders. Set up a working file and then set up a final file. And then once those documents are complete, move them into the final file. That way everything is in one place. When you're going and doing the uploads, when you're going and doing the browsing for those files, they're all self-contained in that one folder. It's a lot easier than to go hunting and pecking and hoping that you got the right version at that point. And once you're doing that, name them accordingly. Don't give them some arbitrary name. Don't let Windows just name it for you. Or if you use a Mac, don't know what Mac naming conventions typically are, but name them in a way that you keep that information and you go, okay, this is exactly what I need. And once you're up there, download that completed package. Most of the proposal agencies and these proposal submission sites will allow you to download the completed package. That gives you a hard copy to know exactly what got submitted, exactly what went in, and kind of those final versions of files. That way you're just totally up to date. If you do, get a proposal that's rejected, that gives you a good working copy to go back in, make some changes, make some edits, respond to reviewers' comments, edit the portions that they pointed out that were weak, and resubmit it for more than likely a much more increased chance of being funded. So this was just a short kind of video talking about the submission process. As you can see, there's a lot of different information that is typically required. A lot of these sites are different, but each one of them gives you the tools you need, kind of points out what you need to do. And for the most part, they're fairly easy to navigate. Some of them are a little more obtuse and cumbersome than others, but there is assistance out there. We will help you with that submission. If you need that kind of help, just let us know. We'd be more than happy to hop on a session and kind of look over your shoulder just in case any errors come up, just in case something goes down, just in case it keeps, kicking back a form at you and you cannot understand why. Let us know. We'd be happy to sit with y'all and make sure that you get your proposal package submitted.